Hi, welcome back. Slight glitch there. Still getting used to this. Okay, so we have been talking about how your beliefs, notice that my glasses are off. Okay, so luckily I can still see you. Well, I can't, but you know what I mean. Okay, so we've been talking about how your beliefs and where they come from different situations in your past and different people have taught it to you, and your thoughts reinforce these beliefs. Okay, so you're replacing significant people in your life that have taught you things. Their voice has been replaced by your thought patterns. They're not really there anymore, but you are replacing that. So your thoughts reinforce your beliefs, and your beliefs reinforce your thoughts. So this keeps going. This is what builds this, your mind swindle, your thoughts. Okay, so I call this your perception deception. What you perceive to be true, you deceive yourself that it is true, even if it's not. So, have you seen the film The Matrix? So let's talk about The Matrix. So The Matrix film. So this is a film where computers have taken over the world, and we're all in our little bubbles asleep. And what you are in is a computer program. A computer program where the world around you is true. But actually it's just a computer program programmed into you. So, I mean, in the Matrix, when you break out of the Matrix, you can go back into the Matrix to use it to your advantage, and you can upload different computer programs into yourself so you know how to do these things. Okay, this happens to you all the time. Obviously that is not real life, hopefully, but you are a computer program, so you have an amazing body that cogs are turning and chemicals are being made because of your unconscious belief systems. So your matrix is your mind swindle. So this is your perception deception. So if you think about an anorexic person will look in the mirror and go, oh my God, I'm too big, I'm too fat, oh look at this, I've got fat legs, oh look at the disgusting legs. You look at that anorexic person's legs and go, oh my God, look at that person's legs, there's nothing of them, they look like a skeleton, right? You could snap them like a twig, and yet the anorexic person is looking at themselves and seeing something completely different. So who's true? You know, the anorexic person who looks in the mirror and sees fat, or in reality they're only 5 stone and can barely walk because they're all skin and bones and they have no nutrients in their body. But they are deceiving themselves because of their beliefs patterns. They look in the mirror and see fat, whereas other people might just see saggy skin because they're a skeleton. Somebody with low self-esteem will look in the mirror and go, oh my God, look at myself. I can't believe I'm so big or so ugly, and look at the state of my nose, it's so big, or my ears, or I really hate my face, I'm so ugly. So you might look in the mirror and see that, but other people going, oh wow, you know, you're beautiful. My son once dated a girl that was absolutely stunning. She was beautiful. We were talking about plastic surgery one day, and she said, I'd have my nose done. And it's just like, really? What's wrong with your nose? Oh, well, it's too big. Really? But she looked in the mirror, and all she saw was this big nose. But it just suited her face. She was stunning, but she didn't see that. She just saw her ugly nose. So what you see is not what everybody else sees. You are just deceiving yourself because of your belief system. So a confident person looks in the mirror and goes, wow, I look amazing. I'm slim, I'm beautiful, people want to spend time with me, I'm wonderful. And that's what they see when they look in the mirror. They see somebody positive. In reality, they may be fat with a beer belly or comb over, But they look in the mirror because they're confident, they see this amazing person. So again, deceiving themselves into thinking that they're wonderful when actually they might not be that wonderful. We are just, whatever we believe, when we look in the mirror, that's what we see. We see that person. We don't see what other people see. We see what we believe is true. So this is your perception deception. Now, your brain is bombarded with about seven things. Sorry, your brain is bombarded with 2 million pieces of information every second. Okay, so things are coming in that you're not even focused and consciously aware of it. So you're looking at me, you're listening to my voice, you might be aware of like me and my pinkness and the other parts of me, and my hands are moving, so this is all distracting you. So you may see all of this, but actually, if you stop focusing so much on me and look on the outskirts, you might see the board at the back, or the screens at the back, or the hat above my head. You may not have really been consciously aware of it. If you were scared of spiders and a spider walked across this wall, for instance, you'd notice the spider, right? Because there's danger. So it's what you are consciously believe. So this is where the seventh thing comes in. So 2 million pieces of information at any one time, but all you get is 7 things. So that you're taking notice of, about 7 things. Between 5 and 9, depending on the person and depending on the situation. So you're doing all of this and you're listening to what I'm saying and you're looking at me, and now you're peripheral looking, but you're not really paying attention to how your foot feels. How it feels attached to the floor maybe, or attached to the sofa, or wherever it is attached. But now can you feel that? But you're no longer taking notice of the hat above my head because you're too busy thinking about how your foot feels. How do your legs feel against the material, the surface that they're leaning against? Before I mentioned it, you didn't notice it. Now, if there was a pin in your leg or pin in your foot, you'd feel it because it would give you a sense of danger. Okay, so how does your hands feel? Can you feel that tingle in your palms? So before I mentioned it, you didn't notice it, right? But it's always there. But you're not listening to it because you're looking at me and listening to what I'm saying, hopefully. And paying attention to my pinkness and the hat above my head and your foot on the floor. But as soon as you pay attention to your hand, you can feel that feeling in your hand, right? It's always there. You just aren't conscious of it because your brain is deleting anything that's not relevant. So this is how your perception deception backs up your belief system. So, if you have low self-esteem, when you look in the mirror, you don't see the things that prove that you're beautiful or nice or kind, or that you're a worthy person. If you are this person, when you look in the mirror, you don't see somebody lovable. You see somebody horrible and unworthy. And you see all the negatives about your traits that you think, you believe are there. Even if everybody else says, oh my God, you're a really nice person and I've never met anybody quite as kind as you. That doesn't compute. You don't hear it because it doesn't fit in with your belief system. So what you see is the size of you, or the shape of you, or the horribleness of you, and how people treat you badly. That must mean you're bad. But of course it just reflects on them, really. But that doesn't compute with you, maybe, right now. But can you see how your perception deception makes you feel like this? Makes you, backs up your belief systems. If you believe that you're ugly, then when you look in the mirror, you'll see all the negative, ugly bits about you. I mean, I could pull apart my face if I wanted to, but I don't, because I am who I am, and it doesn't really make any difference. I'm still a good person, and I'm still a lovely person. So I don't need to sit there and pick holes in myself. My self-esteem says I'm a good person, and I try my hardest to be nice to people. not every good person sees that. They might look in the mirror and see an odd person, or a bully if you were ex. You might see a useless person or somebody unlovable, but that comes from where your beliefs come from. They're not real. Your perception of yourself isn't real. It comes from what you've been taught in the past. So hopefully you can see how this perception deception is backing up your belief system all the time without you ever being consciously aware of it. So if it doesn't fit into your perception deception, you just delete it. It's not relevant. You know, you never tell me I look nice. Well, I told you that earlier, but you didn't hear me because it didn't compute in your head. It's not relevant to you. So this is how your perception deception works, and I hope you can see that. So we're going to run through some questions. I'm going to run through them all, and you can then stop the recording after each question and think about it and write down the answer. Or you can stop after each question and go away and come back to it. Or you can listen to the whole section and then you can think about it in your head, go away, think about it and come back. Whatever suits you, however much time you've got, then you can work this through in your own way. Okay, so first of all, exercise. Where do your beliefs come from? So we talked about what you have been taught to believe, but now we're talking about where they come from. Okay, where do your beliefs come from? Who taught you what you believe? What you believe about yourself and how you fit into this world. Who taught you that? So why did they teach you that? Next question, why did they teach you this? So we as parents don't always, the message we give our children isn't always the message that you intend to give. We make mistakes in our parenting. Never do we, well, I'm assuming there might be some crazy parents out there, but never do we purposely go to mess our children up. We might teach them something that wasn't the intention. Okay. So, question 1 is where do your beliefs come from? Question 2 is who taught you those beliefs? Question 3 is why did they teach you that? What was their purpose? Question 4, are your beliefs true or are they a product of your upbringing? You know, what I want you to think about in this is if you had a different upbringing, if your parents taught you something different, if your society taught you something different, if your media, what you got from the media taught you something different, if your friends taught you something different, if you had instead of having that group of friends, say if you had that group of friends, you know, the opposite of what you did. If they were naughty, were they the really good kids? If they were the SWAT kids, what happens if you hung out with the naughty kids? You know, if you had no friends, imagine having the best friends that you can think of. What would they have taught you? And how would you be responding now? So if you had a different upbringing, what would you believe now? If you had the opposite of what you had. So if you're child A and got taught that you're confident and that you can achieve anything, what happens if you're child Z? You know, would you still be confident and have high self-esteem, or would you be the same as child Z is now? Feeling worthless and useless and ingratiates themselves to make friends. You know, if you are child D who are brought up having a special cuddle and feeling unlovable, what happens if you are brought up instead by parents like child X who are taught to fight and to punch first, and I'll sort that out. You know, if somebody looks at you funny, you hit them. So if you were brought up by child X parents instead of child D's parents, what do you believe now? How do you believe? What's different about you? How are you going to behave now? If you're child T, if child T is brought up like child P and smacked and slapped, are they different? Are they going to grow up differently to what they did and what they believe? So can you see that we start as this empty vessel, and what gets programmed is what fits us and what we believe. So questions. So we're going to run through them briefly again. Where do your beliefs come from? Who taught you this belief or these beliefs? Why did they teach you those beliefs? What purpose did they have? Are your beliefs true? I want you to imagine a world where you were brought up the complete opposite to what you had. So imagine that person with the opposite upbringing. What do you believe now? How do you feel now that you are this person and not this person? How do you believe? How do you feel now? How do you behave now? So think about your beliefs and how true they are, because if you was this person and had this upbringing, how would you believe? Or what would you believe now? So you can see that your beliefs are truly come from your upbringing. I hope. So you can see your deception makes this happen. So you started as this empty vessel, fitted with a broken program, but this broken program can be fixed. So briefly then, what we want to do now is I'm going to stop the tape, let you think about those. Got just a few more questions, but we're going to stop the recording now, let you think about what we've been talking about. Those 7 questions, sir, and have a think about them. Where your beliefs come from, who taught you, why they taught you that, are they true? If you believe the opposite, if you had a different upbringing, if you had the opposite upbringing, think about that and what you would believe now and how you'd be feeling now. Have a think about it, get back to me. Take care.